I think 2024 has really been sort of this blessed year for me, especially because a lot of my films released around the same time, and the timing of that honestly was in nobody's hands. It just happened, so to say. As a young actor, if you get to just be on the same set as someone like Alia Bhatt, I think you're gonna learn a lot, even if you're just going to stand there and watch her perform. It's obviously the story of Munjya comes from a Maharashtrian folklore, and I'm Maharashtrian myself. So I guess it was a little bit of that greed to represent my culture, in this mainstream Hindi cinema. One thing I don't want to do is get typecast.
Yeah.
I really want to be able to push myself to play different roles, different characters, and every time the audience comes to the theatres, I hope I'm able to get them to think that, oh, we never thought Sharvari could do this, or look like this, or speak like this.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Namrata Zakaria, and I'm here at the glorious Yash Raj studios in Bombay. I'm here to meet somebody whose every film I've watched this year, and I cannot contain my excitement because she really is the name on every Hindi film goer's lips. Please welcome Sharvari,
Hi.
who is a Yash Raj girl, something people would sell both their kidneys for, not just one. But here we are to the girl of moment.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so
Very
much.
well. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you for letting me hound you and take the time
No,
out.
not at all, not at all. I'm honestly really glad to sit here with you.
Wonderful. So I have watched each of your films this year. There was Munjya in June, which was terrific, and also Maharaj in June, which came out on Netflix. And then on the 15th of August, you did Veda with John Abraham, and now you have Alia Bhatt as your co-star in, I guess, Alpha, which is coming out in 2025. All the films have made a lot of noise, and Alpha is making a lot of noise, and you are making a lot of noise in
Touch
them
wood.
too. How did you imagine 2024 to be?
Honestly, I think that with every year, I've just really kept my head down and tried to work hard and just be a part of films that I feel are fun and exciting. And I think 2024 has really been sort of this blessed year for me, especially because a lot of my films released around the same time, and the timing of that honestly was in nobody's hands. It just happened, so to say. And the timing was everything this year. So I hadn't really envisioned anything for 2024 because after my first film, Bunty Aur Babli, there was a gap of almost like 2.5 years.
There was 21, right?
Yes, so that was 3 years.
Yeah.
So there's a gap of 3 years. So all that 3 years, I kept feeling like I'll have one release now or something might release, because I was always working on these films that the ones that you mentioned right now, but they didn't release. And then 2024 happened for me, which was honestly the biggest surprise, and I'm just very grateful.
So Maddock is, of course, a very well-known production house, and they've done a lot of amazing work. But I think Munjya is really, really offbeat.
Yeah.
There's no big director, there's no major star. What made you choose it?
I think it was the film. When I heard of this film, I thought that it was really, really fun, and I thought that it was really exciting. Apart from that, it's obviously the story of Munjya comes from a Maharashtrian folklore, and I'm Maharashtrian myself. So I guess it was a little bit of that greed to represent my culture, in this mainstream Hindi cinema, because I've grown up watching a lot of Marathi films. I've grown up going to a lot of Marathi theatre with my parents when I was growing up, and I think that that really has made me who I am, and always wanted and kind of inspired me to be an actor in some way.
That's
So
very special.
yeah.
That's really very
Yeah.
special.
So when this story, I mean, one, of course, Maddock is a huge production house. Their horror comedy IP is it's number one.
Three.
And so I think that I knew that if they are making this film, I'm sure they'll be great. So of course I had this confidence that this story, which was of course unusual, was being backed by a production house and by a producer like Dinesh Vision, who has previously cracked this.
Yeah.
So I think that I put my faith in these two things. One,
Yeah.
which was very personal to me, which was, of course, the story coming from a Maharashtrian folklore. And the other one was definitely a more professional decision, which said that I know that these makers can make it happen. So I think that was just a combination of two.
And what did it make? Like 130,
Yeah, I think so.
135 crores?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine your first film just hitting it. First film in
Yes,
a long time,
yes,
sort of just
yes.
hitting it out of
My
the
second
park.
film in the theaters, yes.
Second film in the theaters, that's right. Just fully hitting it out of the park.
Yeah.
But I heard of Munjya after I heard of the song Taras.
Oh.
And a friend of mine who's also a producer said this girl is wild. The song is insane. You have to watch it. And he sent it to me on YouTube. He just WhatsApped me the song, and I am convinced that song has had a massive role in the 132 crores.
Thank you so much. That is very kind of you. Honestly, anything, I mean, when we promote films, whether it could be even interviews,
Yeah.
it could be songs, it could be, any of these live events that we go to, anything that really gets people to the audience is what everyone's trying for, because at the end of the day everyone works so hard to make that film,
Yeah.
and I think that that's what we did with Munjya. So I'm really grateful that you said that, and if it's had any hand in getting people to theaters, I'm just very, very grateful.
Did you enjoy shooting it? I mean, it's
Yeah.
quite the item song. It's
Yeah.
it's an extra song in the film.
Right.
Tell me about the shoot.
Honestly, we shot that song, I think, 10 days before the release. 10,
Oh my God.
Yeah, 10 of maybe 15 days before the release. I think it was a 15-day campaign, so I'm assuming 15 days before the release. And it was all, our producer, Dinesh Vision, he really, he was the first person who has given me this solo song. I've never done a solo song before. I've always been a part of like a group or a two people or a girl and a boy. So this was my first song, and the fact that he believed in me and thought that I'd be able to pull something off for me was a big responsibility. So I just decided to kill it, and I just rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed, and then the song happened.
I really liked Maharaj as well.
Thank you.
And everyone who's watched it on Netflix, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, but you have completely stolen the show. You really had the best lines. And A, it's a Yash Raj film. B, there were two heroines, not one. And your co-star was Amir Khan's son,
Yeah.
Junaid.
Yeah.
And it was his debut. How did you walk away with all the accolades, literally like the cat who got the cream?
No, you're being very kind. Actually, Maharaj is a really special film because honestly, I love comedy, and my character, she has this comic personality and a really cool trait actually, which was always written from script level. So I think her character was always very funny. It was very lively, and I think that I give like maximum credits to the dialogue writers, because I think that the dialogues made Viraj's character so funny and so likable and so light in the film. I just had to really execute what was written. So the whole play on the word play on Gujarati language,
Yeah.
which has the sir and the sh and these words like mama, masi ka farak hai, and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So those are obviously written by writer Sneha, and I sat with her, and she really guided me through how she had thought of these lines and what made what the timing was. And I think that she really played a very important role in how I kind of built this character for myself. I learned a lot of Gujarati. I have two school friends who are Gujarati, and I've grown up with them since school. So I've heard the language, and when you're so young and you go to each other's houses, your mothers also speak to you in their own language. They think
Yeah.
that they'll know.
Yeah.
So their moms used to speak to me in Gujarati. So I had heard of their language. I'd heard all their moms speak. So I tried to pick things up from them.
Yeah.
I also shared a lot of voice notes with their moms.
Yeah.
So I hear how they speak and what's like the tone of everything,
Yeah.
or what's the pitch of every
Yeah.
language is a different pitch. So that was just really my study into that, and then I just had fun on set.
You really did. But I want to ask you, like, why do you say comedy is your favorite genre? It's the toughest genre. You know that, right? Every actor
So they
says,
say.
to make people laugh is the toughest thing.
So they say, but I don't know. I believe that I have grown up watching a lot of comedy films, and I guess that's possibly, or maybe because when I go home, I feel like I want to watch something in that space. So I think that's the kind of genre that I find solace in, and I go home to and I want to watch. So I think that because I've watched it so much, that when I became an actor, I wanted to be a part of more comedies, and I think that in some way or the other, I feel like I just know how to do it better. I don't know.
Very nice. So two comedies, and then comes Veda, which really is very heartbreaking in so many
Yeah.
ways. Um, and I thought you had a great role in it, but a very, very tough role as well. So I want to ask you what made you choose that role. Um, it looks very different from you physically, but also it must have just taken so much out of you emotionally, right?
Yeah. When I met Nikhil Advani, Nikhil sir is, I think, one of the best directors ever. And I say that because he's so passionate about the films that he makes and the stories that he always wants to tell. And I think that when I heard the story of Veda for the first time, I just felt that I want to be a part of this because we must tell this story. And in whatever way, in whatever small messaging that we were trying to give the audience, I feel like even if we are able to get one mind to think in the right direction, I think that I don't know, I just felt that that's something that I would want to be a part of. And of course, I knew that Nikhil sir will make the film very sensitively because it's such a sensitive topic. So I really believed in Nikhil sir as a director, and of course John is he's an incredible human being, and he stands up for a lot of incredible causes. So I know that his heart is in the right place at all times,
Personally and professionally.
personally and professionally.
Yeah.
So I think that just made Veda really, really special for me. Again, it was a titular role. As an actor, I've always been very hungry to kind of portray different characters, and it was something that was offered to me that was very different from what I had done.
Yeah.
Even though it hadn't released, I knew that I had done a few comedies. I knew the kind of roles that I had played. So I wanted to kind of get into a different genre, because one thing I don't want to do is get typecast.
Yeah.
I really want to be able to push myself to play different roles, different characters, and every time the audience comes to the theaters, I hope I'm able to get them to think that, oh, we never thought Sharvari could do this, or look like this, or speak like this.
Yeah.
So Veda was, I think, the most challenging role I've ever done, because the prep was really, really intense, especially because the language is different. I'm speaking Rajasthani. That took a really long time for me to learn. Apart from that, boxing was something I had never done. So boxing took a long, long time to train in and just get physically fit. And then, of course, there were these emotional scenes which were absolutely disturbing
But
and
you're
heartbreaking.
forgetting how demanding it was of you to chop your hair.
Yeah.
I mean, to be a mainstream actor, to be a very
Right.
young and a very pretty, obviously mainstream actor. Were you in two minds about it? Like, were you nervous? It's a hard look to
Yeah.
pull off.
No, I wasn't actually, because when I read the story, for me that was a turning point. I mean, honestly, I feel like that that really broke my heart, and and the character's desperation in that moment is what came through. So I really didn't care about how it's going to look on me, because I don't think that film was about looks. I don't think that film was about glamour. That film was about the story and what the story demanded, and I think that story demanded for Veda to cut her hair, and that's why for me I was confident.
Well, you pulled it off.
Thank you.
For whatever it's worth, you looked very cute in a very
Thank you.
sad scene.
Thank you.
Were you sad that it didn't have a great box office run? Because, John is among the most bankable actors. Nikhil has a great hit rate as well. Sometimes it's just luck. But what do you feel about the ups and downs of a box office or of Bollywood? How do you tell yourself, it's okay, there'll be another one?
Honestly, I feel like there are a lot of takeaways from any film that you do. Of course, there are box office success would always be sweeter, because it only because it reaches to a larger audience and nothing else. Because I know that lots more people would have watched the film, and that's why I say that definitely would have been sweeter. But I think that what I had a very big takeaway from this film personally, in my personal and my professional life, which was the fact that I could break my own mold and do something different. Because even as actors, I feel like sometimes you tend to doubt whether you will be able to do this or not, or will I be able to do this kind of drama. There were a lot of things that I had in my mind as well when I started that film. Eventually, when I watched it and the kind of response that I got for my performance, I think I became more confident about doing films like that. Because Veda is the only film that I've done is so gritty, so deglam, and in that drama space.
High on drama, that's right.
So that's the only film that I've done, because I was also still testing waters for myself as an actor. I feel like I came out. I emerged more of a winner on that end. So I feel, for me personally, my takeaway is that I'm confident to doing more of that as well.
You've been an actor 4 years, if we count Bunty and Babli 2, and you've obviously had a great run this year, especially. I just want to ask you, what do you attribute your success to? Because I meet a lot of actors, and the wait can take so long. Your mentor, Aditya Chopra, has he played a great role in it? Do you think it's luck? Do you think it's access because you don't have, a film background? What do you think has worked in your favor to sort of bring you this sort of magical place that you're in right now?
I think the reason why I'm here is because of the dream that I have for myself.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the only thing that keeps me going every single day, because I think that that's something so close to me and so personal, that I have a dream for myself, and I really want to work so hard to reach there. And that's just my aim. And I think that no matter how much time passes, just because some time has passed, you can't give up on your dream. That's just how I feel. And even though there definitely was a wait for these 3 years, I know that when I was auditioning, in fact, and I started auditioning in 2014, and then Bunty Babli released in 2021, which was so many years away. And I had done a show in between that, which was Forgotten Army with Kabir Khan.
That's right.
But there has been a big phase where I didn't get any work at all. And at that point, I didn't have Yash Raj, and at that point, I didn't have anything. I used to go to Aram Nagar and I used to audition and try and get some ad or some film or some show. But even then, I didn't think this. So today, in fact, I'm in a far, far better position. Like, if you go to see after Bunty Babli, I had so many doors open for me.
Yeah.
I still had a film to show people. I was a part of a huge franchisee that everybody in the industry knew. I had a mentor like Aditya Chopra who believes in me more than I do sometimes in myself. And I think that that's such a huge encouragement, and that's such a huge motivation for me to work hard.
And also massive compliment.
Yeah, and a massive compliment.
I mean, to have his eye on you is like the biggest thing.
Yeah. So I think that with time, everything only gets better. With time, if you just keep following your dream, and if you just keep believing in yourself and pushing yourself, I think it'll work out. That's just how I think about it.
Do you go to him for guidance, advice?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you discuss every film with him?
Not every film, but there's definitely an array of things that I discuss.
Nice. I want to ask you about your family. You are Shiv Sena's stalwart, Manohar Joshi's granddaughter. He's your maternal grandfather. Tell me about your family in your words.
I mean, honestly, I've had a great childhood. I've lived in Mumbai all my life. I've stayed in Shivaji Park all my life, and
you can't get more rooted than
yeah,
Shivaji Park.
True. That is true.
And it's still as lovely as it was decades ago. Yeah.
So everyone in my family is either a builder, an architect, an interior designer, except for my nana, who was a politician. And honestly, when he was really at his peak, we were just born. So, I think I only remember him as our grandfather, and didn't know of anybody's profession, so to say. So I think that for me, most of my dinner table conversations really are like these house plans, and like people discussing, oh, how many rooms can be put here and where can a bathroom go. So that's really like my life. And even today, if you come to my house, on the dining table you'll at least find one floor plan,
Really?
because my sister's an architect, my mom's an interior designer, and my dad's a builder, and I'm an actor, and my
Yeah.
brother is in school. So I think that between the majority side will always look at some plan, something happening. So that's actually always been my life. But honestly, everyone in my family has been such a huge, huge fan of the movies.
Yeah.
Because every Sunday, my dad, my mom, my sister, and I, and we used to sit and we used to watch a lot of movies growing up. We used to rent CDs and watch these new films. So everyone's been a big movie buff.
I think it's very sweet and very unusual that you started out being an AD, an assistant director, and with Love Ranjan
Yes.
and Sanjay Leela Bansali, and they're both two polar opposites as filmmakers. What were your takeaways, and what were you on the set like?
Honestly, on Pyar Ka Panchnama 2, I was clueless on set because I had never been on a film set.
Yeah.
I didn't know how movies are made. I didn't know it takes like so many people and cameras and light. I mean, I knew basics, which I think that anybody who watches movies feels they know about. But that's about it. So I think when I was the DA on Pyar Ka Panchnama and then I became a clap AD, that was really the first time that I got introduced to the world of how films are made, and I tried to learn as much as I could, especially on that set, because I was so new, and I had this I really wanted to learn so much, and I didn't want to waste any moment in the day. So that was really my spirit. When I went to Bajirao Mastani, I was very enamored by the actors and by Sanjay sir, and I mean, he's always been my favorite director. So I think that I was just living my dream being on the set of Bajirao Mastani. And
He's everyone's favorite director, filmmaker, but the stories of the sets paint him out to be a real horror.
not at all, actually. I've never experienced that, and honestly, I just feel like it's such a magical place because it's. I mean, I don't know. There's just some magic that gets created. Maybe it's just my own bias towards all the films because I love them so much. But honestly, that's how I felt of being on set of Bajirao Mastani. And then Sonu Ki Titu Ki Sweetie is the third film I did with Love Sir again. That's because it was home ground, and I had already assisted before, so I didn't have work at that point. So I said, why don't I join you again, and that I can be on set and I can still try to learn as much as I can. And I think those two films were the ones where I really learned some little bit about comedy, because both of those films were funny films, and Sonu Ki Titu Ki Sweetie and Pyar Ka Panchnama too.
Yeah.
And I guess somehow I feel like I'm still picking up whatever I've seen and learned and using it in my own craft.
Yeah. But technically, do you think you picked up anything on the set? Like, being an actor is in front of the camera. But
Yeah.
do you think now that you had experience of what goes on behind the camera, did that help you?
I think what helped me was the fact that I was never intimidated in front of the camera when I was an actor. Because I had worked on 3 films and I had worked so closely on them as an assistant director, I knew everything that was happening around me when I was an actor. I knew that it takes time. I knew that sometimes you have to cut a take because there's a technical error. Sometimes, I knew these things. I didn't get scared of so many people and lights and camera because that can get intimidating. So I think that the environment was something that I was familiar with. So when I was an actor, I think the only nervousness was that, oh, I'm performing for the first time. But other than that, I think I was aware of what was happening, and that really helped me.
Nice. Do you hang out with Vicky Kaushal and Katrina Kaif?
Yeah, they're my friends. I do.
What's your relationship like with them and their family?
Honestly, I've made such great friends because I've worked on Forgotten Army. So Kabir sir, Minnie, Sunny were really the first friends I made as a part of a project, because I was an actor on it. And
We're
then I
still
think
denying we're dating Sunny Kaushal.
where there's no acceptance or denial on that.
Okay.
So then I think everyone just meets more people, and then you become friends. So now we have this big group, and we meet quite often for like games night and dinners.
So your next film is coming out with Yash Raj again. It is their most successful franchise, their spy universe, and you and Alia are top lining it.
Yeah.
Are there any male actors at all?
Well, one can't say so soon.
So and you've had a long shooting schedule, because I know I've been waiting to do this interview with you. What was it like shooting with Alia?
It was like a masterclass.
Really?
Yeah, because she's incredible. And as a young actor, if you get to just be on the same set as someone like Alia Bhatt, I think you're going to learn a lot, even if you're just going to stand there and watch her perform. So, honestly, for me, if I'm in the capacity to, sit with her, talk to her, brainstorm a few things with her, I'm sure that it's going to help me forever and ever. Because she's incredible. I mean, words will definitely fall short to the kind of talent that she is.
Tell me a little bit about her process that you picked up.
I think I'm still learning. I think we're still shooting. So I believe that I'm still in my process of trying to understand that.
Okay, super. What can you tell us about the film? What are you allowed to tell us?
The fact that we are shooting the film right now, and the film, obviously, like you said, is being headlined by two women. I think it's a great time to be a part of such a film, because I think that it's first of its kind. There's never been a film which was headlined by two women in this action space, with such high stakes.
Yeah.
And I'm just very happy and very proud to be a part of this film, because again, I feel like when audiences sit in the theater, and see two women being really badass, I think that hopefully we can put an impression on a whole generation, where hopefully young girls can feel that, oh, we can get cast too.
You have shot half the schedule?
No, I mean, we're shooting
Almost there.
Yeah.
And do we have a release date as yet? I
Not
know it's
as yet.
2025, but
Yeah,
no
yeah.
idea.
No, but not as yet.
Okay. So you say you're a proud Maharashtrian girl. Do you think you would star in a Marathi film? Would you like to produce one? Would you like to write for one? Do you see yourself involved in it at all?
No, 100%. 100%. I think that it's definitely a part of a bigger plan for me, where I can hopefully give back to the community which I grew up watching and really inspired me in being an actor. So I hope in some capacity I am able to do that.
You know, it's one thing to be an actor and another thing to be a movie star. What do you like about being a movie star?
Um, I don't honestly. Isn't it almost the same thing now? Like now, I think that anybody. I think in today's time, with the kind of content that we're getting, uh, I think all actors are really becoming like movie stars, aren't they? In some way
No,
or the
not
other.
really. I mean, a lot of people struggle with even their Instagram, and a lot of people say that if you have X amount of followers, you're famous and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Um, but there are trappings of people recognizing you on the street,
Right.
which must be happening,
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not being able to go out in public. Do you enjoy that, or do you miss your Shivaji Park privacy?
No, I think like you said, 2024 really has just been the year where I'm seeing all of this for the first time. So I'm still testing waters. I still go out and I do get recognized by some people. I do click pictures, but I think that's something new to me as well. So I'm still trying to figure.
Well, there's a long way to go, and you are clearly in a big rush. Please enjoy every moment of it,
Thank you.
Sharvari, and
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you.